Our story begins in a world where a Cold War has been going on between the two big countries of West Dallas and Asagna. Daylight assassinations and spying are common in this world, where these two countries continue to try to meddle in the political affairs of each other. However, one day, the diplomat of Western Lawless is killed in an assassination. The higher-ups at West Dallas figure that this is the work of the far-right party of the East, which is planning to take over the government there and launch an actual attack on West Dallas, a full-out war. They're left with only one option, and no, it's not to start a war before they do. That would be too easy. The officials decide to let their very best agents deal with extracting information to somehow stop the war. The agent is Twilight. Twilight is one of, if not the best spies in the entire world. His reputation exceeds himself as the master of disguise. His spying skills are unmatched as well. James Bond doesn't even compare when it comes to this legend. Twilight can switch to 100 phasers, has survived countless wars and stopped many as well. And the most important of all his skills is that he puts his mission before anything else. Heck, it doesn't even take him a second to break up with his girlfriend who was thinking about marriage. Recently, Twilight finished acquiring some confidential pictures of the minister from his blackmailers. He had been living as Robert during this time, but as soon as his mission was finished, he burns all the papers linking him to that name, cuts off all his ties, and heads out to the next mission. His life as a spy always keeps him busy, and he knows that he will never have a real name or a real family, but that's okay with him. He gets his next mission as he heads to the city of Berlin. The mission is simple. The target is a member of the National Equality Party named Donovan Desmond. This man has been planning something to disrupt the peace between the two countries, and Twilight's needed to spy on him. However, there was a catch, or perhaps an easy way to perform his work. He needed to get married, have a child, and make sure that the child gets into the same school as Desmond's son so that using the child he could keep track of Desmond's activities. All of this needed to be done in 7 days. No matter the skills Twilight may have, having a child in 7 days is definitely not an easy task. However, the higher-ups are confident in Twilight's skills, and besides, the fate of the entire country depends on the success of the mission. Twilight is a bit anxious at first but collects himself and begins his impossible mission. Once he reaches the city of Burlington or Estonia, Twilight takes the name of Lloyd, forger and psychiatrist, and gets himself a house for his soon-to-be family, a family he is yet to acquire. After finishing with the paperwork for his house, Lloyd heads straight to the orphanage to get himself a child. He visits an underground orphanage that has little to no track record with the government. The children there are in awful condition, and Lloyd can't help but notice the caretaker's drunk nature. The man takes Lloyd to the so-called smartest kid in the orphanage, Anya, for the mission. Lloyd wants a child who is smart and at least 6 years old. He doesn't really believe that Anya fits into any of those categories, but for some reason, Anya tries her best to impress Lloyd. She even solves a crossword right before his eyes as he solves it in his mind. This convinces Lloyd, who instantly adopts Anya. Little did Lloyd know, Anya was a telepath. A test subject of an experiment on you could read the minds of all the surrounding people on your head. Realized that Lloyd was a spy and was more than ecstatic to join him in the mission. Lloyd takes his daughter back to his home, and later she tags along with him as they head to get some groceries. During all of this, Lloyd starts to realize that spying is much easier when it comes to parenting. He spends the whole night trying to figure out how best to tackle this whole ordeal. Anya is not exactly the calm type either. She was fully immersed in the spy and espionage that her father had spent so many years hiding from people. She tries to follow him around every time he tries to head out, enjoying the thrill of her father finding her location every single time. Lloyd somehow manages to lock her up and heads to the one contacts that he has from West Dallas that also lives in Estonia, Frankie Franklin. Franklin sets him up with information regarding on his past. Just in the past year, she had been adopted and then returned back at least 4 times. Back at home, Anya manages to stumble upon Lloyd's contact briefcase and sends a random signal that is intercepted by the same people from whom Lloyd had taken the minister's pictures. Their leader Edgar immediately recognizes that this is a signal from the east and sends his men to capture or kill him. They take on you captive just in case. Lloyd gets home and manages to subdue the 2 men who are there quite easily. He then rushes to the location where Anya is held captive. Lloyd disguises himself up as one of the goons and skillfully swipes away on you. While the other goons are distracted, he leaves her outside and then goes back in. Lloyd then points a gun at Edgar's head and threatens him that if he ever came after him again, he would not only kill him, but his wife and his little daughter. He then walks outside in his real form like a badass. The father and daughter then decided to switch houses just before the entrance exam to the prestigious Eton College. Both of them have come a bit closer to each other after the last incident. The entrance exams finally begin and Anya obviously has no idea what she can do to pass. She tries to read the minds of others around her, but the rest are as clueless as her with no other choice. She guesses all the answers. However, as she looks out, Anya passes the entrance exam to Eden School. Elsewhere in the same city, a young 27-year-old female is troubled by her lack of companionship. It isn't that she wants to get married. Just recently, the government has started to prosecute a lot of single females, believing them to be spies. Yer just doesn't want to leave her day job in the city council because someone thinks that she is a spy. That day her friends call her to a house party, and Yer agrees. She even lies to her brother who lives in a faraway location and is her only living family member that she will be going to a party today with her boyfriend when he inquires if she had settled down or not. The idea that she had to find a boyfriend before the party troubles her throughout the day. However, that is not the only secret she has kept from her brother. While Yer might not be a spy, she is, however, an infamous assassin named the Thorn Princess. She is a contract killer who works for various secret organizations to murder people for the greater good of the country. This is why she needed to maintain her reputation as a normal worker in the city council as well. Back at his home, Lloyd and Frankie scour through several 100 reports to select the perfect wife for Lloyd. Lloyd does have the option to hire a spy from his country, but decides it's better to use someone who doesn't know about his mission. After being unable to select someone, he takes Anya to the local tailor's